The first wire transfer notification arrived at 2:17 a.m. I was awake. I'm always awake at that hour. $480,000. Outgoing from an account that carried my name, not hers. Mine. I stared at the ceiling while the darkness pressed down on my chest. My wife was asleep beside me, her breathing soft, steady, innocent, or rehearsed. Another notification. 1.2 million, reference code, consulting. I don't consult. I build companies. I don't move money in the shadows at 2 in the morning. My phone vibrated again. A message preview flashed across the screen before locking. Victor says next transfer must clear before Thanksgiving. Your husband suspects nothing. Victor. I didn't know a Victor, but apparently he knew me. I turned my head slowly and studied her silhouette in the dark. The curve of her shoulder. The faint glow of her phone charging on the nightstand. My name, her lover. And millions vanishing into a place I never authorized. My pulse didn't spike. It slowed. When betrayal is real, your body doesn't panic. It freezes. I reached over her carefully and unplugged her phone. She murmured. I smiled into the darkness. And I began reading. The messages weren't romantic at first. They were transactional. Accounts, offshore shells, routing instructions, my name attached to every signature. Then came the tone shift. You're brilliant, she wrote. I'd never survive this world without you. Victor replied with a single image. A photo of them, intimate. Her hand on his chest, his face half-shadowed. A gold ring I recognized from newspaper crime articles. Victor Salerno. Mob-connected financier, quiet, untouchable. Until now. I placed her phone back exactly where it had been. She woke at 7, kissed my cheek. Made coffee, asked if I'd be home for Thanksgiving dinner. Her voice steady, her eyes clear. You'll come, right? She asked. Don't make it awkward with your mother again. I nodded. The performance was flawless, but now I could see the seams. The slight delay before she answered a question. The way she kept her phone face down. The new charity board meetings. I didn't confront her. Confrontation is emotional. Emotion is weakness. Instead, I played husband. I laughed at dinner. I held her hand in public. I let her believe I was exactly what she needed me to be. Blind, trusting, useful. And inside, something ancient and cold began to sharpen. The forensic accountant I hired never met me in person. Encrypted calls only. He traced the transfers within 48 hours. Layered shell companies, Swiss accounts, charitable fronts, all controlled through a structure built around my legal identity. If authorities follow this trail, he said calmly, it leads to you. Of course it does. That was the design. Victor handled the laundering. My wife handled the access, and I was the fall guy. I requested full documentation, every transaction, every login, every timestamp tied to her device. While she planned dinners and complained about my distance, I collected digital fingerprints. She had been careful, not careful enough. She used our home Wi-Fi for several authorizations. One IP address. One timestamp. 2:17 a.m. The first night I noticed. I contacted a federal agent I once funded during a cybersecurity initiative. I didn't accuse. I presented. Quietly. Systematically. By the end of the meeting, they weren't looking at me as a suspect. They were looking at me as bait. Thanksgiving approached. Family politics simmered. My daughter-in-law called the night before. Her voice sharp. If you want to join Thanksgiving, come wash the dishes. She snapped over the phone. I stared at the city skyline through the glass. Enjoy, I replied, and hung up. She had no idea. None of them did. I had already moved my assets, liquidated, transferred, purchased something they would never touch. A villa overlooking Lake Geneva. Discreet, impeccably, untouchable. They thought I was losing control. In reality, I was redesigning the board. The evidence folder arrived encrypted. I opened it alone in my office. Photographs, bank logs, recorded calls between Victor and my wife discussing when he takes the fall. They laughed. They calculated sentencing projections. 7 to 10 years, they guessed. He won't survive prison, Victor said. She didn't object. I invited her to lunch the following day. Public. Upscale. Crowded. She wore red. I placed a leather folder on the table between us. What's this? She asked lightly. Your retirement plan, I said. She opened it. Her smile dissolved slowly. Transaction histories. Her login credentials. Photos. Victor's name highlighted. Her breathing changed. Color drained. "You went through my phone?" she whispered. "No," I said calmly. "I went through your life." Silence. She tried to recover. "This isn't what it looks like." "It's exactly what it looks like." Across the street, 2 unmarked vehicles waited. She didn't see them. But I did. Ah! I stood first. Left cash on the table. "You used my name," I said quietly. "That was your only mistake." Her hand trembled as she reached for mine. "Please," she said. "We can fix this." Fix. An interesting word. As we stepped outside, agents approached with clinical precision. Badges flashed. Her expression fractured. She looked at me as if I could stop it. As if I would. "You set me up," she gasped. "No," I replied. "You did." Victor was arrested an hour later. Coordinated. Simultaneous. Efficient. The charges carried potential 30-year sentences. Financial conspiracy. Money laundering. Fraud. She screamed my name as they placed her in the vehicle. I didn't respond. My phone began vibrating. Once, twice, then endlessly. My daughter-in-law had received photos. The villa in Switzerland. Lake views. Glass walls. Precision architecture. 71 missed calls. Suddenly respectful. Suddenly apologetic. Greed is predictable. I didn't answer. I watched the news coverage from a quiet terrace weeks later. Her image blurred. Victor's empire dismantled. Commentators speculating how the husband escaped implication. They don't understand. I didn't escape. I calculated. Betrayal doesn't break you. It reveals the structure of your world. And then you decide whether to collapse under it or rebuild without the rot. Thanksgiving passed without me. No dishes. No shouting. Just silence. I poured a glass of wine and watched the lake ripple under the Swiss sky. My phone hasn't rung in days. I blocked them all. Wife, family, noise. She thought I was a name she could use. A shield. A scapegoat. Instead, I became the witness. And then the architect. Some people fall in love. Some people fall for traps. She did both. I fell for nothing.